Rev up your engines!
Check it out. I like it. The 2024 Ford Ranger going to a single cab, going back to its root where somebody wants a small pickup truck. There's only one problem. They're not going to sell it in the United States. They're going to sell it in Europe and other overseas countries, right? They want to sell the $81,000 loaded F-150s here. They don't want to sell a single cab Ranger that doesn't cost that much. Kind of equivalent to Toyota selling a $10,000 pickup truck in Thailand, right? But they're never going to bring it in the United States. They want to sell $55,000 Tacomas, $70,000 Tundras. They don't want to sell these cheap cars here in the United States. But in case of Ford, hey, they're going to sell the cheaper Ranger, just a single cab with a bed on it in Europe. And the rest of overseas. Kind of a raw deal for us Americans here. So, shame on you, Ford. You're selling a nice small pickup that people would probably like here, but you're only selling it in Europe and overseas. Bah, that's what I say. Hardy har har, the Fiat 500e, their little electric car, is now pausing productions again because they can't sell the stupid things. Nobody wants them. Stellantis has announced plans to pause the production of the Fiat 500e for several weeks across February and March. Even Italy and Europe hasn't been selling like they expected. If you ever looked at one of these things, for what you pay, you get hardly anything. A crappy little car that can't go all that far, but it's very expensive. Now, if the Italians think they're going to compete with the Chinese making small electric cars, they got another thing coming. The Chinese can make really low-priced electric tiny cars, right? And anybody thinks the Italians going to compete with them, they're out of their minds. The Italian quality is absolute garbage. And the hilarious thing is the percentage of electric cars in Italy is only 4%. The European average is 14%. So even the Italians don't want to buy their own electric cars, right? Not much hope of them selling much here in the United States, let me tell you. People have learned when the Fiat 500, the non-electric version, first came to the United States, like the third year it was here, they sold like 55,000 units. And then the last year they were selling here, they sold like 5. Everybody realized, what a pile of junk, right? The 500e, it's not cheap because it's an electric vehicle. New technology, things cost more money to build, right? At least the original 500 Fiat in the United States was pretty cheap to buy, right? Well, these 500es aren't cheap cars, and they're competing with Chinese small electric cars, and there's no way the Italians can beat them, right? They just can't. And it's not like the Chinese are building junk. A lot of the stuff in China, yeah, is junk, but they can also make very good things. They have modern factories, right? And if anybody's going to make low-priced electric cars that work, it would be the Chinese. Well, I warn you about I'm not a fan of CVT transmissions or a fan of Nissans. Here is an email from one of your viewers that says, gee, Scotty, you're telling the truth. Ryan S. says, Scotty, you're telling the truth. I had a Nissan Pathfinder. The transmission went out on 82,000 miles. Now it has 140,000 miles and it's gone out again. Let's face the facts. If you have a transmission that breaks, it's brand new and then it breaks, right? It's going to break again if you fix it. That's only common sense, and generally it's going to break even faster. Where originally it broke at 82,000 miles. They just aren't very good transmissions, the CVTs, especially the ones that Nissan's putting in. Their Jatco transmissions are absolute garbage. The CVTs. The only Jatco transmissions I've ever seen that are any good are the rear-wheel drive ones. But the front-wheel drive CVT transmissions that Nissan uses are garbage. And in this case, hey, it broke at 82, it broke again at 140. Hey, if you get it fixed under warranty, fine, that's one thing. But if you got to keep paying to fix it and fix it and fix it again, it shows you. Don't get involved in this rat race. Just don't buy a Nissan in the first place. If you're thinking about buying an electric car, you might think twice for all the reasons I've given before, but also because the tires cost a lot of money and they wear out sometimes 3 to 4 times faster. EV tires have special tread designs because they want to have less rolling resistance, right? Electric cars have a real problem with range. They can only go so far. So they want to get the tires that have the least rolling resistance so the batteries can make them drive further. The more rolling resistance, the more friction, the more energy it takes to pull them, right? They want to have less rolling resistance, but they still have to have grip because unlike gasoline cars, electric motors have instant torque. As soon as you turn them on, zoom, they got the full torque power for spinning the wheels. They're super fast, right? So, of course, that's going to wear your tires out, and they're going to slip if they don't have the right tread design. Well, to make tires that don't slip under high torque, guess what? They're generally softer. So guess what happens to soft tires? Just like a soft eraser, it erases themselves. It wears out faster, right? And it costs a lot of money. Now, a lot of the EV tires, they also have foam inside to quiet down their noise. Tires actually make a reasonable amount of noise. Normally you don't hear it because you got a car with a gasoline engine. You're driving down the road, you don't really hear the tires. But in an electric car, since they don't make much noise, you hear the tire noise. So people that own them, oh man, what's that noise? It's your tires. Well, you got to buy the special tires that don't make noise, right? Every stinking time you got to buy 4 tires, you're going to spend anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 or even more for the fancy electric vehicles. It's just another reason that electric cars are not a smart idea. Now, if you use Uber, watch out for this Uber scam. It is the Uber doesn't move scam. What you do is you call the Uber, right, and you say, okay, I'm going to use it. And then the guy just sits there, or girl, whoever, man, whatever, whoever's driving, sits there and doesn't move. And then they get paid $5 if you cancel it and go to somebody else. Some of these guys, I guess, are just sitting all day. They're not doing anything. And they're just saying, okay, yeah, we'll pick you up. They don't go to pick you up. The people canceled. And then they charge you $5. Now, of course, there is a way you can argue to try to get your $5 back, but that's such a hassle, and most people aren't going to waste all their time to get $5 back, right? So really, Uber, they should be looking, and they should have a computer system looking at these drivers. And if they see these drivers are continually asking for the $5, ban them from Uber. Hey, if their system's that bad that these guys have to scam them to make money, should try something else for a living. As one journalist says, Uber has successfully managed to dodge a lot of regulations. But if drivers are simply going to scam their customers regularly, the broken system requires more oversight. The whole idea is kind of wrong, that the company makes all this money and they don't own cars and stuff. They just have other people use their own cars, their own insurance, right? They got to con a lot of people to go into the system, but they're not making all that much money. I asked an Uber driver when I was in Houston, I said, what do you think you're making? She said, I actually figured it out once. It's depressing. She said, I'm making like about minimum wage. When I counted the money, the depreciation of my vehicle, the insurance I pay, the gasoline I buy, and all that stuff together, she said she was just making about minimum wage doing the Uber, and she was looking for something else to do for a living. They might look like they're making some money, but then when they find out where their car payments, their car's depreciated in value, the money they spend on gasoline, it just doesn't really add up for a lot of people unless they're really hustling and putting in a ton of hours, right? They got no benefits from the company because they say they're contract laborers. Hey, they're working for the company. What a load of baloney, They're just skirting legislation. I suppose the politicians are taking money from the Uber company to, no, you don't want to regulate us. We're making too much money as it is. We don't have to put labor laws on our company. We're special. Well, here's proof that the politicians, they think that they are elites. You get special everything. Now get this. Ted Cruz wants to have private airport screenings for the lawmakers and special security for the lawmakers. All the rest of us peons can go through all the regular screenings and stand on our heads and take our shoes and belts off, but oh no, these people are special. These politicians, they're above us all, right? Hey, you know what I say? These scumbag politicians need to ride with the regular people in an airplane. See what it's like for regular people, not living in this fantasy world where they're special. They get special treatment. To me, it's a bunch of garbage. They should not get special treatment. It's just ridiculous. They have no idea what the average person goes through. I'll never forget when George W. was president. He went through one of these grocery stores, and there was a talking grocery store scanning it. And he said, wow, I'd never seen that before. Yeah, because he never bought groceries, right? It was some kind of a PR stunt to get him in a grocery store. And it shows you how far divulged from our reality these politicians are, right? It's just absolutely ridiculous. Now they want special screening, special everything for him, right? And of course, they were after him because he went to Cancun during the coronavirus and stuff, right? But he wouldn't answer those questions when the press asked him. He just ran away, right? Complete hypocrites. Whatever they say, don't listen to anything they say. Look at what they do. Politician who was traveling down from Washington to the South to promote electric vehicles, and then they just had a family, husband, wife, and a baby that they blocked from charging their electric car because they said, the special people from Washington are coming to use that charger. You can't use it. This is the kind of people that are involved in politics, right? They should just get rid of them all. But of course, as they've tried in the past, That usually doesn't work because if you get rid of the ones that are in there presently, there are other cockroaches hiding in the walls. They just come in and take their place. It's kind of a hopeless situation when it comes to politics in this country. Hey, my old man told me that years ago. The politicians were doing a horrible job in Western New York, so they voted them out, right? But then the new ones, they're from the same parties, right? They came in and they did just as bad, if not worse of a job than the people who'd been in there for decades, right? It's a corrupt system. And what are you going to do about it? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.